Hello everyone, Jak Syn here on behalf of Fiend.com and Future Daze, and today it is another exciting episode of Artist Interviews. Today, I am sitting with DROID BISHOP. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on, and thank you to all the listeners and viewers out there. Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. It's pretty damn hot right now. I'm telling you, we're in the midst of
in my underpants.
Heat wave. You know, and it is somewhat unbearable to go outside. You know, you burst into flames, you walk out there. We're not used to like having this kind of heat, because usually when you get this kind of heat, you're like out in the desert. But like we're here,
it feels like the devil's about to pop out behind a sand dune in the desert somewhere. It's hot.
It would pop out with the pitchfork.
Yeah, it's coming out. Yeah, the flames are rising. No, it's staying inside. Got the blackout curtains drawn and just trying to stay cool, stay dry, stay alive. You know, if it's not one thing, it's another. But keep trucking on.
That's what it's all about, right there.
Okay. Cheers to that. Cheers to staying strong.
Cheers.
It's just coffee. I'm off the sauce.
So today we're going to ask you a couple of questions and see where it goes from here. You ready to get into it?
Well, let's get wild.
What are three of your most memorable moments from your musical career?
I guess the first one would be, there's no order here, just three things. Like getting that email opportunity, like the tour with Magic Sword that I did last fall, 2019, did some like Midwest and East Coast Canada dates with Magic Sword. And like, that was kind of a culmination of starting to do live shows the year before and you know, feeling ready for that and getting the opportunity from them was cool. And I had a great time with those guys and got exposed to some of their fans, and it was a great tour. It could have gone terrible, or we could have not meshed on the road. Like, you know, personalities being out there is tough. But we had a good time. We stayed connected. We just put out a track called Supernova we collaborated on. And so through all that, like friendship and music has come about. So that's cool. And hopefully after all this stuff passes, we can tour again, or, you know, or more opportunities to play with other people. But yeah, that was one. And another one would be getting your first vinyl printed is a cool thing. You know, having your record printed, whether you like that album or not anymore. You know, we all think different things of our old material and whatever, but that's cool. Seeing your stuff on a vinyl, and it's an antiquated notion to a lot of people, but to other people like us and a good amount of vinyl lovers and audiophiles, it's cool. I love vinyl artwork, and growing up on, like, you know, metal records or like 70s like funk records and cool album covers and fantastical artwork. I think that's cool, and it lends itself to, you know, synth and kind of escapist music. And so having your music pressed on vinyl would be another one. And the third thing, I won't go into like specifics, but a huge thing to me is when you get respect from another person or artist who's bigger than you, or that you look up to, or, you know, is floating around the same world, and they give your music props, or they start following you, or, you know, they're engaged with what you're doing. That's always a huge plus, because, you know, as much as the fans are the driving force here, for me personally, there's this side that needs that respect and, you know, just the camaraderie between artists, and, you know, so that's always nice. And that's happened a few times where some bigger artists or people I look up to have taken note, or, you know, that's always the little child inside you kind of being picked for the baseball team or whatever, some Freudian shit, but, you know. All right, those are my three things.
Well, those are some awesome three things right there. Yeah, as we're talking about, you know, it's like, it's good when you are recognized, or you're having that camaraderie, you know, like with other artists. Like that right there, it helps cement you into the kind of artist that you become, you know. And I think with everything that we do in our lives as creative people, it's always great when we get recognition by somebody else that we love and admire, you know. And I think that right there, it's, you know, one of those really important things. And going back to what you were talking about, one of your earlier memories, you know, like being able to go on tour with Magic Sword, I'm sure that was just great for you, because, you know, you guys got to work really well together. The work that that goes into a tour, of course, is always like a big thing, like every day it's always something new, because it's like it's never the same show, am I right?
Yeah. I mean, it's like the same dream, but kind of like the faces are shifting, and it's the same game plan, but it all, well, that stage is different now, and and also being the opener and trying to respect the headlining situation, and you want to get your best representation of, well, how much space can I have up here to work the crowd, and being in other bands throughout life, you respect the pecking order, I guess, if you will. I mean, it's good to kind of like prop yourself up kind of to get up there with these people, but you can't step on the toes. And I knew it was their tour, and they were super chill, and our stage transitions were smooth, and it was a good crew, because you want to represent yourself well on tour to the new venues and their staff, and you want to come in like a well-oiled machine. There's a lot of unorganized, terrible bands out there, and like touring things that don't respect these things, these orders, if you will, and like, I'm sure there's good and there's bad people, and that translates into bands and touring situations and all that stuff. So we had a good one.
Yeah, that's true. It's like sometimes you have these really good bands that really respect everybody. They respect the staff, they respect the venue, they respect, the fans and everything like that. And then you have other bands that don't care at all.
Yeah.
And and sometimes it's hard if you're, let's say you're on a showcase show or something, you're rolling through the town, you're on a showcase show, and your tour syncs up with another tour, and they put you all together on one bill, and then all of a sudden you're kind of going like, well, I'm not part of this. I mean, we're paired up, but I'm not a part of that per se. So it's like you're trying to respect everybody at the same time, but sometimes it's kind of hard, when you have an act or something that just is hard to deal with. You
got to respect everyone at the same time, while riding the fine line of being like, fuck everyone but us, or but me, or whatever your mission is, like, because it's always that entity against the rest of the world, in a sense, but like respecting everyone as you pass through is the way to do it, I think.
Hey, you know what? Connecting with the fans, because at the end of the day, that's what is the most important. Connecting with the fans, connecting with the people who come out to see the music, because the fans in the different cities, it's like when they come out to the shows, that is going to, you're going to leave an impression on them, and you want that impression to be good, and something they can walk away with and feel, great about, like, hey, this person was really down to earth. They were very respectful. Like, they really made me feel like a person. I think everybody wants something like that.
Yeah, the fans are number one, I mean, like, past the making of the music and the things that have to be done for there to be anything to listen to, the fans are so important. And I grew up watching bands or famous people, if you will, and like taking note of like these people who are cool, and like Metallica dudes, those guys will sign your stuff, like they'll wait, they know their fans are super important, and they are, and you it's hard to maintain some sort of, you don't know everyone personally, and sometimes lines get blurred of the relationship that is going on, but the fans are everything, the fans are everything, and they deserve your respect and your time if you can give it to them. It's not hard to be nice to someone. I don't understand why you need to be a dick. If someone like interrupts a private moment at a dinner or something, I get why some of these like celebrities or whoever, like personal space, I get all that. But if there's nothing going on and you can take a photo with someone, it's chill, and most people are super nice to the fans. Number one.
Fans number one. So tell us about your new album, Music. What went into the process behind this, like developing this album? Because I gotta say, it is a beautifully written album. I'll tell you that.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. That's planning, putting everything into these albums. That's the number one thing, is like, I hope that someone feels that kind of way at the end. So like all the other stuff that comes out of it, that's all these scattered ideas and things that build up over time. But for me and most artists, I feel like you sit down to make something enjoyable or something moving, or I don't know. I always have that in the forefront. It's the screen in front of everything. Like, you know, ideas come and like, oh, I want to make a song like that or an album like that. But it's always sitting in front of like, but make sure it's good and it's for people to enjoy, you know? So thank you. I digress and say thank you that you enjoy it. And so that's one down, and, you know, we'll see what other people think. But it wasn't really a planned process. It's just kind of like, you just keep going. Like, I just keep making music, and we just understand little constructs of like, you completed an album or an EP or a song, and but we have to put those in little boxes because they're easy to handle. But it's just writing songs continuously. So I just kept writing after I put out the last record. I think I usually start the day I put out a record. It like keeps me in check, you know, like never rely on your laurels or whatever, but, you know, just keep moving forward. So just do another record was the plan, and COVID came about, and it's kind of like, maybe you should put this out and finish it in case you get COVID and die or something. That's a real thought that I had, you know? It's kind of like, you don't know what's going to happen. And regardless of COVID, you got to hustle through life, I think. You can't just, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. So I just kind of like hustled through and had all these like skeletons of songs, and just started to work harder and faster rather than like, well, art has a way of moving on its own pace, and which is true, but you can force things a little bit, you know. So just trying to get it out quickly, and but doing it right. Just wanting to call it music because I don't want to be boxed into any genre, and it's clear if you listen to the stuff that I listen to a ton of music, and, you know, I like electronic music and classical and jazz and like love metal music and rock and guitar stuff. And music, if it sounds good, it's good. If it sounds shit, it's shit. There's no, you know, I have a favorite ice cream flavor, but if ice cream's bomb, you eat ice cream. It doesn't matter if it's your favorite ice cream. So
I'll say, you know, with all of this going on, with everything that we've experienced over the past 6 months, it's allowed us to gain a lot of perspective. I think, you know, as people who create music or people who create art in some way, where you're kind of going like, okay, hey, it's time to kind of put my money where my mouth is and really kind of push this stuff off the cliff into where it needs to go.
yeah.
And I think that a lot of us like have worked a lot harder on a lot of things during all of this, because I think it's helping us in a way to kind of cope with the way the world has shifted into that new normal. And I think that even with everything that's happened, it's like out of the dark comes some of the most amazing things that we have ever seen in our life.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, out of every dark period, you have a renaissance that comes after it. You have a period of like just beauty and creativity that comes out of that.
Okay.
And I think, you know, as the machine starts to rev up and get up to 100% again, we're seeing that more now than ever, is that it's trickling out more and more and more.
Yeah.
All these beautiful creative things that are happening. And the album music itself, when I say it's beautiful, it really is a journey album to me. Like when I was listening to it, it's a journey album because I really feel like I'm going on a journey.
Cool.
It's, you know, you have these little areas where, you know, yes, they're funky, they're jazzy in a way. Like you have these guitar riffs that are very just funky and dancey, and then you have like these synth parts that are just so very atmospheric and dynamic and cinematic in ways. And just the way that you were layering them all together, it flows really well together.
That's cool. I mean, that's good. I'm glad you think that, and because I don't know what it's like for someone else to hear it. I don't know what it will be like. You know, I have a scattered picture of everything put together, and so I don't know what it sounds like to someone if it's cohesive, because not every, you know, every song, like you said, or moments has its own kind of vibe, but I try to weave something that sounds like it should connect, because I can't just sit there and write 10 songs that sound like they're kind of the same song, you know. Like I do like albums like that, like you know, I love AC/DC, but like they're only going to have like 4 type of songs that they keep doing a million times. They'll like straight up one, the like kind of halftime groovy like rock, big rock song, and so, you know, like, but it sounds great and it works for them, but I can't do that. I'm so scattered. I want to, ooh, let me try this jazz chord in this thing, and but only like finding the confidence to do that more recently, because you try to please people, you know, like, well, I guess I should just do this, these people like this track, so let me maybe do like an album like that. And I don't know, I guess I'm making music more for the long run, for the legacy, like not to be like super sweet and chewed up quickly and spit it out. Maybe it's a harder listen, or you need to like, it needs to grow on someone, but you know, like I like to make things that are more for the future than for it to just be like easily disposable. And but I balance in trying to make the catchiness with the substance. I don't think they're exclusive. You know, I love pop music. Like Michael Jackson is the biggest pop star of all time, and like those are intricate pop songs. You know, those are not 4 chords. They're 4 chords with like changes, like Quincy Jones, man, you know. But anyway, I don't even know what we were talking about, but yeah, the different layers and stuff. I hope it's translatable, because I can't be in this one zone of, like I said, that's why it's called music. It's just music. Like you can put it in a box if you want, but just listen to it. If you like it, it does something, that's cool. But not everything has to be labeled or commented on. You know, we live in comment culture where everyone's a critic, or everyone's knows what they're talking about. You know, just trying to get away from all that bullshit, and like it's just art, it's just music. Like not everything needs to be about the business or other things. And you know, I'm going off into a tangent, but I think these things are important to understand. That's where my philosophy was with titling it music. I hope it doesn't come across like egotistical or like this is music. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't my intention.
Well, no, it's a big word. You know, when you say music, like it's a big word because it encompasses all different kinds of things. Like when we talk about artists and creativity, it's like it's never anything that's planned out. There's no specific set path to go down. It's all in the way that you feel from start to finish.
Yeah.
Anything that you write, anything you create is what you're influenced by at that time.
Yeah.
And when you listen to an album in its entirety, sometimes you'll get a concept album where it's like one album that's been influenced by one major event. Then you get other albums where they're influenced by many different things at a bunch of different points that are thrown, you know, together as one thing.
Yeah.
And you really kind of go, you have your high points, your low points, moments that are faster, some that are slower, some that are more feeling oriented, some that are really like headstrong, come at you like really hard. But that's the beauty of creating, is that for artists and people who create, like there's no such thing as a box. There shouldn't ever be a box. There shouldn't be something where somebody says, I have to stay in this little sandbox and I can't go anywhere else. No, no, no. Creating is about breaking out of your hang-ups, like getting out of that mindset and kind of going, shit, I can do whatever the hell I want to do because I can create whatever. I just think a lot of us sometimes, what we see working for somebody, we want that to work too. And when you try to emulate that, you lose yourself. You have to stay true to who you are, because when you do, people see that and it resonates more with them than if you were trying to do somebody else.
What you said is true, but it's a double-edged sword, because you kind of have to start out emulating people. You know, everything I learned was like riffs and like, or like chords from records, and then getting into more synth stuff, you kind of like it's no joke. I don't know how dark it is, but like there's a Daft Punk poster behind me, and like they're kind of in the back of my mind, and you kind of think what they would do when you're starting out. So you got to emulate to learn a bit, but then you're right. When you're kind of in an established point of like making your own music, you know, to a degree, you got to follow your heart. You can't do what other people are doing. It's always good to be true to yourself, because emulating creates more of the same stuff, and we don't need a lot of the same things just floating around. We need variety. And if you stay true to yourself and really do what you want to do in anything in life, and you make a success from it, that will be so much better, you know, on your own accord, and the way you wanted to do it. Like, straight up, I know that I've changed my music a lot over the years, and there's people that only like old stuff, and that's great, and I'm glad that they listen to that stuff. But there was a point in time where I'm like, dude, you only go around once on this world, and it's a short time, and do what you want to do. Make the music you want to make. And like, so I started putting in more guitars and more things, and like, and honestly, like, I think that someone out there who likes what I'm doing now, they wouldn't have liked that thing if I didn't do it organically or truthfully to myself. So you're right, like, honesty, and people relate to that, I think. And I don't make music for the people who aren't going to like it. I'm making it for the people who like it and need it, and they need 100% honesty.
Exactly.
So you nailed it, yeah.
And, you know, that resonates with everybody right there. Honesty, being honest. That right there, staying true to your convictions, is what people respect more in the long run. They really will, because as you change, as you evolve, as you progress in your career, you will have many different fans. You will respect many different things that you go about writing. Yeah. It's like, one, you have a group of fans who love this album and a group of fans who love this album. And you know, when they go to see you live, both fans will converge, because, hey, guess what? They're all there for the same thing, your music that you've done.
Yeah, it gets tough, you know, the shows get tough. The more music you put out, the more you're kind of like, well, now I got to touch on that record. And you try to please everyone to a degree. Like, you still want people to like your stuff. I don't want to alienate anyone. But concerts are cool, because I feel like I try to put on a show where, even if you didn't hear your favorite song, even if you're hearing some stuff that maybe you hadn't heard or wasn't something you were into, you got to put on a show and have everyone have a good time. And there's tons of times I've not liked a band because I've heard their record in life and saw them open for some band, and it was like, that band is awesome, and didn't like them before I saw them live. But live has a way of working out if you put the work into it. So yeah, but pleasing fans is hard. That's super hard. And any band, yeah, just ask Metallica. So they're kind of a cool model. I love Metallica, and it's like, hate them or love them, they've always done what they want to do. And at the end of the day, they're top 5 biggest rock bands of all time, still, stadium tours. And they did what they wanted to do and said, fuck everyone else. They haven't made 100% decisions that I've liked or wanted to be on board with. Like, not every song I like, but you got to do it your way.
You do. You got to do it your way. You got to do it your way all the time. You have to do it your way, and you have to stay true to who you are. What was the drive behind getting you into making music and performing?
Well, it started a long time before DROID BISHOP. I've been doing DROID BISHOP for 8 years, almost 7 or 8 years. And that kind of came into like a later part of my earlier days, like earlier career, if you will. Like, I mean, I started playing guitar when I was 7. I come from a musical family. My dad's side, like from my dad going up on his side, are all professional musicians. So it's kind of like in, you know, like your dad's a doctor, his dad's a doctor kind of vibe. So it's just kind of always there. You pick up instruments and you're just exposed to music. And that's why I like a lot of stuff. Like, my dad would play records from the 70s, like Pink Floyd and Steely Dan. And you know, you kind of grow up with like jazz grandparents that play a lot of jazz. Like, my grandpa played trumpet and played with like Frank Sinatra and like Nat King Cole and a bunch of jazz dudes, which I didn't give a shit about that when I was like starting out as a child. You know, you grow up and you're like, oh, my grandpa was pretty sick. I don't know if there's a drive as much as something that's just like there. Like, I know that is a drive, but like, it's not like I have to go find, I think I should be a musician. It was just like, that's what you're going to do. And you do it, not in a bad way of like, well, my dad does it, so let me do it. I'm one of the luckier people that does what they just thought, like, oh, that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it. And anything that gets in your way, like school or anything, you just part it. Not everyone can run through it as smoothly as I did. I don't know what, but I've had a lot of like breaks. Someone's been watching out for me, or, you know, I've had some like pitfalls, but good moments of just being like, this is what I'm going to do, and everyone get out of my way. And, you know, you got to eat a lot of ramen throughout your life sometimes, like, to make it happen. But yeah, the drive was just, you're doing this, and you know, there was a brief moment when I wanted to be like a professional skateboarder when I was like 13 or something, but then got super into metal, and I was like, nah, I think I want to do this. That's why I always credit Metallica, because they were that shift between skateboarding and music, and I was kind of like, no, I kind of want to do that. And, you know, listening to like Master of Puppets and all these like epic records, I was like, damn, these guys are pretty young doing this stuff. And that moment I got discovered in metal and doing that was something I discovered with synthwave later. I had that same kind of feeling. I was kind of like, wow, what is this sound? And I think I can be a part of this. I like this. And you kind of listen to some people out there, and you're kind of like, ooh, I like that. I like that. I think I can do it better than that person. Maybe I got a shot. I know it's kind of an asshole thing to say, but you kind of have to gauge, like, could I do this? I'm like, if that guy's out there, I could do this. So it just kind of started. And I never thought I'd be doing this. I always wanted to be in a metal band when I was growing up. So, but, you know, you add some guitars to the synth, and it's not like I'm, like, creating a new genre or anything, but just being true to yourself. Like, you kind of come up with your own vibe anyway. So, but the drive is just to do it. You have to do it. It's like breathing. I think some people say they want things, but they don't really need them, so they never do them. This is something I need, or else it's like a fish out of water. You know, you kind of just like lay on the side and die. If you were forced to do like a 9 to 5 or something, like for me, that's like, I can't do that. I just have to like do the up and down musician thing and hope that like you don't have to worry about anything anymore. But I've been lucky, and I pay my bills playing music, and I've toured with a bunch of people and had great experiences. So I'm super lucky, and I encourage people to follow their dreams, but I also know that you have to, it's up here too. You really have to like believe that it's happening and it's going to happen. It seems hard and weird and spiritual and spacey, but it's not. You just believe like, I'm going to do this, and like, that's going to happen. And you don't give up. You fucking fall over. You don't be like, I thought it was going to happen. You just fucking get up.
No, but it's true. It's when you feel it in your heart and your inherent need to want to do this. It's with anything in life.
Yeah.
I think everybody feels those inherent needs to wanna get up and go do something. It's like to get up and go work on something. It's like it's this gravitational force that's pulling you to do this. It's a calling. And sometimes we do get sidetracked. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes we do get sidetracked by certain things in life.
Mm-hmm.
But I think ultimately our goal, you know, our focus never really fully veers off course. I think we always stick to that, but we try to find ways to adapt and change to make that happen. Yes, sometimes it can be hard for people to kind of focus all of their energy into that, but I think that if you really feel it in your heart and in your soul that the drive is there to do it, I think you will find a way to do it no matter what. And, you know, it's great that you were saying, like, you know, you came from a musical background too. It's like my dad was a disco DJ back in the day, and I would pour over his like record collection, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like constantly being exposed to all of this like disco and funk and soul and all this kind of stuff, you know, really kind of like helped, you know, kind of push me down these roads of like, whereas like music, you know. So it's like when I got into synthwave as well, I was like kind of going like, a lot of this stuff has the sounds of stuff that I was exposed to when I was younger.
Exactly.
You know, developing through becoming an artist, you kind of go like, I'm inspired by this stuff that came before, and that's what speaks to me the most.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to accomplishing the most moving forward?
It's a broken record. You always got to put everything in like COVID-19 terms right now, you know, because it's like, well, if COVID goes away, like sometime relatively soon, like to get out on the road, to tour more, do more shows. I have like elaborate show ideas up in my mind of like stage production. It's down the line a little bit, but to digress, like the whole COVID-19 thing for me personally, like being able to like just chill at home and not be like forced by society to go interact outside, and whether it's work or socially, I don't mind it, you know? So like I can create, I like to create and be in my studio and work on the music and be the mad scientist. That being said, the live show thing, I've always wanted to do like big, entertaining shows. So that's like a huge goal. Put on like a spectacle, you know, like especially in synthetic electronic music. it'd be great to have a band up there. I want to have a full band at some point, but like we got a lot of computers going on, a lot of like simulated things. We know we're not a fucking jazz band up here, like using our school techniques. Like there's computers at work here. Let's just put on a show. It's not about like I'm playing all this shit like 100% perfect live. It's not that kind of thing. I saw Empire of the Sun like 8 years ago, and their show was awesome. It's one of my favorite shows I've ever seen in my life. It was like you were on this spaceship with them. I took a note. It was like a year before Droid Bishop. I'm like, I need to do that. So always looking forward to like game-changing things, like like Pink Floyd's The Wall tour, things like that, and this dude like Eric Prydz, he's a DJ composer who has like these virtual reality like holographic images that like are in the crowd, like you're a part of these like these visuals, and it's crazy. And I think like that's the future. Like it's not about us like I'm playing this live, and there's a lot of grandpa mentality about like you shouldn't use tracks and you should be playing this, and to a degree, but don't you just want to go and be like entertained? Concert tickets are so fucking expensive. Like entertain me. I don't give a shit about the dude playing. like in a nutshell, performing and really putting on like shows would be cool. But just keep writing music and getting more ears on the tunes. That's the main goal out of anything, to just kind of get this album out there to people and just like get new fans and just keep working it. I'm not going anywhere, and I feel like I'm going up and not down or not stagnant. So you just keep writing. These things take time. This will be my 8th year kind of going into this, and like most bands and acts don't break for 10 years in a lot of ways doing things, and I'm already lucky. I've got good fans, and some people will never have their songs heard or liked. You know what I mean? There's tons of people in the world who write music and no one buys their CD, and not the music's bad or anything. The synthwave scene's like weird. Like I got lucky. If I was doing some acoustic singer-songwriter thing, I don't know how to build a fan base like that. You know what I mean? Like this is very computery, like a network crossing the wires. Like we're all cyber freaks, and like it's easier to connect like that. Like so. I don't know how other people do it, and like we're a blues band trying to get signed. I'm like, fuck, that sounds hard. I've been there, like, so this is where it's at for me. The future is in the computer.
I'm looking forward to you like creating some amazing visual shows, like really kind of coming out with some amazing stuff, because I'm sure once we get back to into 100%, I know it's going to be freaking awesome, because you make some amazing shit.
For sure.
Definitely.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
What positive message would you give your fans out there?
Positive message. All right, I've got a lot of them, so let me just spout them out. Number one, easy. Never give up. Never give up. If you believe in here, you're supposed to be doing something, whatever it is in life, and you just know it. Never give up. If there's that little voice that says like, I don't know, maybe like you should be doing something else, like don't do that anymore and give up, because that voice always knows you shouldn't be doing something. So if you know that you should be doing something, never give up. Number two, always apply yourself. Don't just like give up quickly and like go like ask someone for an answer. Like just try to work it out yourself first. That builds a lot of troubleshooting problems in the studio when you're writing. Like, how can I fix this? How can I make something better? And anything in life, apply yourself. Where are the scissors, you ask? Look in all the drawers. Like they're there somewhere. Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Be true to others. In music, in life, like just be honest. Like people are so afraid of the truth in a lot of ways, and it's kind of like just be honest and be truthful, and don't be an asshole, and be yourself, and don't try to do what other people are doing. Like they're already doing it, so do something else. And that's pretty much it. Be yourself. Don't be a dick. Follow your dreams. Don't give up.
Exactly. Wise words right here, everybody, from Droid Bishop. Follow your dreams, be true to yourself, and never give up. That's true. With everything going on in the world, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you may want to throw in the towel. Sometimes you just may feel like, what is the point of things? But there's always a point, because it's all the things that you feel inside that are important every single day. keep pushing, keep creating, keep building. So
Appreciate
thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and do this interview today.
Thanks for having me,
Thank you
Joe.
everybody who took the time to tune in and watch us have this conversation. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe to our Torfin YouTube channel, as we have many more awesome artist interviews on the way, just like this one. Thank you so much, Droid Bishop, and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon.
Have a good one.